Hey guys, it's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you my freezer meal process. Some really quick and easy freezer meals that I do just during regular weeknights when I have a little bit of extra time. So come along and take a look. Okay, so first up I decided to make some banana chocolate chip pancakes, and if you can see those bananas, you know why I'm making pancakes. They are very ripe and just about ready for the garbage, and I was not in the mood to make banana bread or muffins, but we were out of freezer pancakes, so I said I'd kick it up a notch. The fun part about this, guys, this is just the Costco mix, the Crusties. You can pretty much turn it into any flavor you want. I'm gonna mash up this banana, add a little bit of vanilla extract and some cinnamon, and then some chocolate chips when I'm cooking them. You guys, they're perfect, and my family really loves them, and they toast up perfect in the toaster. All right, now I am going to be using my griddle for this, so I like my batter to be a little bit thicker. Also, I don't add my chocolate chips to the mix. I just kind of drizzle them on top once my batter has been poured. Otherwise, I find they just sink to the bottom and I can't really tell how many I have going on. And the other way, I get to control how many chocolate chips are in each pancake. All right, this is a non-stick griddle, but I still like the oil because personally I like a crispy edge on my pancake or I won't eat them. I'm just gonna use this paper towel just to spread it out a little bit. I don't wanna go too crazy, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour as many pancakes as I can fit. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add the chocolate chips now. You could add peanut butter chips and make them peanut butter banana chocolate chip pancakes. You wanna get really fancy. I also wanna show you guys the containers that I use to store these. They're just a huge 24 pack from Costco. I've had these ones forever. They wash great in the dishwasher. They freeze great. Everything is perfect. They're stackable. I don't have to worry about it. I just use parchment paper to separate the pancakes and everything comes out perfect. They also toast awesome, as you can see here. That night, my daughter requested some, so I already went through a container, guys, not even 24 hours. So you guys have heard me rave about the rock pans that I use in a lot of my What's for Dinners. This is basically the griddle version of it. It was like $46 at Walmart. Guys, it's amazing. Just like any griddle, there's hot spots. So if you'll see when I'm cooking these, I kind of move them around. You get a feel for your griddle, you will learn to love it. So I'm making one batch of banana chocolate chip pancakes, and then the next batch I'm making just banana because I know that not everybody appreciates all of the chocolate. Now, like anything when you're freezing, especially in large batches, even meatballs, anything, fruits, you want to lay it out on a tray and help it freeze a little bit before you stick it all on top of each other. Otherwise, it'll be a huge brick and you won't be able to separate it. One other thing that helps you separate it is using the parchment paper. If you'll see how I'm doing it here, I'm kind of cutting it into 3 strips and it fits perfectly in these containers. So these were in the freezer for about 30 minutes before I put them in, and they came apart no problem later on that night. And I just like to go ahead and label them because I don't want anybody to get surprised with the chocolate chip. Not that they wouldn't be able to tell. And there you have it, 32 pancakes ready to eat at a moment's notice. All right, so this night we were having pasta, so I figured it's the perfect night for me to make baked spaghetti to freeze. Now, all I use is jarred sauce, guys, jarred canned tomatoes. Get it together, woman. Anyway, so spaghetti, canned tomatoes, canned pasta sauce, and disposable containers, and I'm gonna make baked spaghetti. These are meatless versions because I happen to have frozen meatballs in the freezer that I had made a couple, I wanna say 2 months ago, but they're still good, don't worry about it. I just buy these containers at the dollar store, you guys. They're perfect. You could use your own if you wanted to, but I like to have them. They're nice if you're gonna be giving it away, and honestly, it's just easier to clean up. I'm also gonna use some cheese and sprinkle that on top before I freeze it. But later something changed. check out the war wounds, you guys. I had to open up this jar of sauce all by myself. Jamie wasn't here to help me. It was catastrophic. Anyway, I'll get over it. Let's move on. Us mamas got to truck through, right? So all I'm doing here is warming up the sauce and tomatoes together just so everything kind of comes together. I've also salted the water for the pasta. Honestly, it doesn't get any simpler than this. You could probably even skip heating up the sauce and just add the pasta to the sauce. I just find it kind of melds better all together when it's all heated up. Maybe it's not. Do you do what works for you? This worked on this night because I was making it anyway. Now, I've seen a lot of videos making homemade marinara sauce lately. I find it's a long process, and this tastes so good, I don't think I could make one that tastes better. I did add a lot of spaghetti and I had just about enough, but I also used some for supper that night. Also, go ahead and add some olive oil or canola oil, whatever you have. I just find personally that helps my pasta from sticking after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and grate up my own cheese. I've just been hearing a lot of stuff about pre-shredded bagged cheese and how they add things to it so it doesn't stick together and stuff. Anyway, this was on sale. That's why I'm using it. Otherwise, you'll see my what's for dinners. I love bagged cheese well. So if you have that, go ahead and use it. Here we go, we're getting to the good stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and add all of my cooked spaghetti right into the pot with the sauce. And if you see any of my What's for Dinners, which you should check out because I will link them below, but if you watch my What's for Dinners, you know I love to stuff this poor Dutch oven to the brink, sometimes to the spilling point. So here we go, you'll see here, I have pretty much everything I need. I thought I ran out, so I ended up stealing some of the penne that I also made for supper that night and remembered I still had some spaghetti in the strainer in the sink. I'm a genius, guys. Really, you really should follow me. The subtle games that you are playing, and you don't even know I exist. Once you've got all your pasta in there, go ahead and top it with as much cheese as you would like. Remember, you could always add more when you go to bake it. Ideally, these are going to be used when I'm not home, so I just kind of try to simplify it as quickly and as easiest as I can for Jamie and the kids. I even like these containers from the dollar store because I can write on them the directions. If you didn't have this, you could just do a sticky note or some sort of system, write on a piece of parchment paper and stick it in there so when they open it, they know how to cook it. That would work as well. I'm going to go ahead and double wrap these in plastic wrap and then a single layer in aluminum foil. You guys, I've never had anything go bad this way. It's kind of how I wrap up a lot of my meat in the freezer. It's how I do my freezer meals. They last, and some of them have been in there upwards of 3 months. So far, so good. I do like to take a minute to write on the outside what it is inside because though I know what it is tonight, give me a couple weeks and I'll have no clue what's in there. So here you guys go. 4 baked spaghettis ready for the freezer. If you didn't know, we are a blended family of 6, so I can either pull out 1 for just the 3 of us or 2 for the 6 of us. Moving right along, we have shepherd's pie. Now guys, this one was from last week. Basically, I made it on a night that I was making us a shepherd's pie. Cooked a little more potatoes and a little more ground beef. I'm gonna make 2 with just ground beef and a layer of cream corn and then a layer of mashed potatoes. And then I'm gonna make another one where I mix the ground beef with a can of canned cream of mushroom soup and also some potatoes on top. So take a look and see how this all goes together. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this doesn't take a little bit of extra time, but if I'm already in the kitchen and I'm already making a shepherd's pie and it's in the oven for 40 minutes, in those 40 minutes, I whipped out these other 3 shepherd's pies. That's what I had time to do. That's what I chose to do with my time. You guys do you. Do what you need to do. But for me, I love knowing that there's food in my freezer. on nights when I don't feel like cooking or on nights when I know I'm not home. I actually ended up with 2 for the freezer because the smaller one I ended up cooking the next day, and we kind of ate it for lunch and just snacking because it's that good, you guys. I'm telling you right now, you need to make these. So where shepherd's pie is a staple in my house, pizza bagels are a close second. I'm using the same containers that I used for the pancakes. I like these thinner bagels. They are better for the pizza bagels. If you buy the really thick ones, I find they can be a little bit too much and they don't cook very well, but use what you'd like. I like this Primo Squeeze bottle pizza sauce just for ease of distribution. Also the Kraft Parmesan and oregano tastes just like a Kraft pizza kit. It's awesome. I'm going to use just some of these crumbled bacon bits. If you can buy them at Costco, go ahead, but we don't use enough of them to warrant buying such a big bag. I also like the Pizza Delight dry cured pepperoni. It just has a more authentic pizzeria taste compared to some of the other ones that are bigger. Obviously, we are going to have 2 hot dogs because that is an East Coast staple. And for half of them, I'm going to do work. So we're going to do red onion and green pepper on them. And I'm going to go ahead and shred up this pizza mozzarella that was on sale. This whole block, guys, was only $7.99. Like, wicked.
Don't forget your first kiss. We were so damn high.
Like I always say when you're cooking, the hardest part of any process is the prep. So if you want to buy these vegetables pre-cut in your grocery store, power to you. I just don't mind slicing and dicing. I find it actually pretty therapeutic. And if you buy yourself a decent knife and kind of take a few minutes to really teach yourself how to do it, I promise you're going to enjoy it too. Here's that East Coast staple. So the best plan when assembling these pizza bagels is to put them directly in the dishes that you're going to be freezing them in. For whatever reason, I had a brain fart, pardon the expression, and laid them out like this for the sauce. But you'll see in about 3 seconds that I go ahead and put them in the containers. So go ahead and just sprinkle on the Parmesan and the oregano. Like I said before, just like a Kraft pizza kit. It's so good, guys. If you're wondering what the difference is between your pizza and your friend's pizza and why theirs is so good, it's probably that. First up, I'm going to make the Works pizzas. So I like to put the onions right on the bottom so they kind of stick to the sauce, and that helps keep everything from flying around in your container. And then I'm going to take some pepperoni. Make sure you cover up that bagel hole, you guys, because your cheese will fall right through. Another handy tip, and the reason that I like using these containers and freezing them this way, is you'll see the bagels just fit, even if they're on a little bit of a slant. Nothing really seems to fall off too badly. If it does, you just take the toppings in there and you put them back on top of your pizza bagel when you're baking it in the oven. It's as easy as that. I mound the cheese on here, guys. Trust me, it's worth it. It's so gooey. You're going to see in a little bit. I'm going to show you guys what they look like. You probably noticed I skipped the hot dogs for the Works. I'm just going to use them for the all meat. So I'm going to sprinkle the bacon bits right into the sauce here. Same reason, so they kind of stick. And then I'm going to go ahead and add all of my hot dogs. Don't knock it till you try it, guys. And don't forget to cover your little bagel holes. They love to steal your cheese.
If I'd ever known how you'd forever change my life.
Now, I know this looks like a lot of cheese, but it isn't. You guys, take a look here. This is everything ready to go. But as I was getting these ready, Jamie asked if I could cook one for Sebastian because they were off to a doctor's appointment about an hour away. So I went ahead and did that. Take a look. So good, so cheesy, so hot. Do I sound hungry? I am a little bit.
Because you built me a mosaic.
Now, obviously, you guys can bake these right from frozen. I'm telling you, they look just the same. They're delicious. I even cooked one up for Belle. And you don't have to have both halves. That's what's kind of nice about this. Belle just likes half. That's the perfect amount for her. Next on the list is chicken pot pie. This is one of my favorites. Just grab yourself a pot, grab a couple bags of your favorite frozen vegetables. You could use green beans in this if you wanted. I like to go a little heavier on the peas. Well, Jamie does. I'm going to use store-bought pie crusts. I have made one. I have a video on here where I made my own crust, but you don't need to. I'm going to use 1 onion or 3/4 of it because I'm going to go ahead and do about 1.5 of my version that I normally do. Some celery, chicken broth, some milk, some better than bouillon just to kick up that chicken flavor, and 1 stick of unsalted butter. I just find it easier because I can control the seasoning that way. I've also cooked up a chicken in my air fryer about a couple days ago. I will link the video below to show you how I do that. You'll never do it another way again. You're going to need some flour for your roux, and you're just going to need pepper, thyme, salt, garlic powder, and check out this recipe from Crouton Crackerjack. It's just his salt seasoning. It's amazing, you guys. Definitely give it a shot. Use it on more than just chicken pot pie. I'm also going to use these containers that I found at Superstore the other day. They were just a no-name version of the containers. I like them because they're deeper than a typical pie shell, and they kind of come up straight on the edges. Anyway, you'll see when I put it together. Moving right along, go ahead and add all of your butter to the bottom of the pan and add in your celery and onions until the onions start to be slightly translucent. This usually takes about 3 to 4 minutes. Then you're going to go ahead and dump in all of the flour and whisk it in or stir it in with a wooden spoon until everything is absorbed. I'm also going to add my better than bouillon to this little mixture and kind of cook it all off within about a minute or so, and then we'll go ahead and add our liquids. So like I said, I will link Crouton Crackerjack's recipe down below. There was a few things that I omitted, like potatoes, but pretty much otherwise for the seasonings in this, I stuck to exactly what he said. And if you guys watch my channel, you know that I do not follow measurements. I'm horrible for it, but I kind of just go with my gut instinct. But this time I'm telling you, I will never make it without using his seasoning mix again. It was perfect, which is why I'm also glad that I used non-salted butter, because between the better than bouillon, which was my addition, and his seasoning, that was just the right amount of salt. So you'll see I've slowly been adding in my stock. Once that's all absorbed, then you can feel free to go ahead and add your milk. Again, I use lactose-free milk. I don't use heavy cream or anything like that. I find it's delicious, very rich. I don't miss the cream at all. Depending on your stove, this could take upwards of 4 or 5 minutes to get it boiling again and really get this thickened. Once it's at the consistency that you like, and remember when you remove it from the heat, it will keep thickening a little bit, then pull it off the heat before you add all of your vegetables and your chicken. I just gave it a little taste test here. Always taste your product, guys. Now here you go, guys, mixing it all together. Literally, it's like a 1-pot meal minus the crust, but it is so simple. You saw how quick that came together. Less than 10 minutes, you've got chicken pot pie filling. Now, I don't know how necessary this is, but I always spray my pans before I put that in, even if I'm gonna freeze it. Go ahead and take your pie crust, whether you've made your own or you bought store-bought, and fit it in as best you can. I never trim off the edges because frankly, we like that extra crust, and I really stuff my pot pie so that, you know, you kind of use the edge, you dip it in. Anyway, it's delicious. Try it. I'm just using a little bit of water, kind of like a glue, to go ahead and help the 2 pie crusts stick together, especially where they're really cold out of the fridge, but I don't want to let them sit out too long because then they're too warm and hard to work. Make sense? Basically, I'm going to take them and pinch them together as best and as rustically as I possibly can. After that, I'll go around the edges and crimp it like the one you see on the left and kind of make it a little bit more pretty. It's a really basic technique, you guys. I did the best I can with kind of the angle that I had to work with, but you'll see, just grab 2 fingers and your forefinger, push it all together until it kind of makes this rippled edge. Now cut a few slits in the top to let it ventilate when you do cook it, but remember we are freezing them, we are not cooking them yet. I just like to make a little design, guys. We are almost at the finish line. Like I said, I'm going to use these little parchment sheets. I found these at the Dollarama. I'm sure the Dollar Tree in the US probably has them. I just like that added extra protection where I am freezing dough. I'm going to go ahead and write right on these little lids that I got with my containers with the instructions on how to cook them. And then I'm going to wrap it just like I did with my baked spaghetti, twice in the saran wrap, once in the aluminum foil. And of course, I'm writing on the top because you know my memory ain't going to remember what's in here. All right, 5 meals down, these chicken pot pies are ready for the freezer, and Jamie's gonna make his own little version with what I have left over from biscuits from yesterday.
Pick you up when you fall.
All right, last one, homemade baked beans. I saved this one for last because while it might not be an entire meal, we love having beans in the freezer to heat up for breakfast. So, first step, the night before, go ahead and soak however many beans you're going to want to cook in water covering it about 2 inches over the beans. Then the next day, you're going to throw them all in a pot and boil them with a few pinches of salt for about 45 minutes. So, what goes in my beans? Well, they're my mother's beans. So, we're going to use brown sugar, yellow mustard, tomato ketchup, molasses, of course, about half a pound of bacon in this batch, some pepper, and a very small pinch of salt. That's it, you guys. You are going to need an oven-safe pot. I have this Dutch oven that I got for $60 over Christmas at Canadian Tire, but they do go on sale every couple of months, so keep an eye out.
My heart will be in your hands.
So I promise I'll be there for you.
Okay, so add your drained beans to your Dutch oven and let's start adding our ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and chop up relatively finely this bacon. If you didn't want to use bacon, you could use pork fat. That's usually available in the meat section in your grocery store. If you're going really authentic, like my mother's from Cape Breton, pardon me, her grandmother's from Newfoundland, there'd be pork fat in these beans. I had bacon in the fridge, so that's what I'm using. Do I have measurements for you guys? No. Do you know why? Because I learned to cook from my mother. So she didn't have any either. She said, Vanessa, I just go by look and smell. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to hopefully teach you that through YouTube. Go ahead and add a good portion of molasses like I just did here, about half the amount of ketchup because I want them more sweet. If you'd like them more savory, then do more ketchup. And about a quarter the amount of mustard. A little bit of pepper, and again, a pinch of salt just to kind of balance all of that out.
And so I promise I'll be there for you.
I sprinkled probably about a tablespoon of brown sugar. That's probably the only measurement I can give you guys.
You know I'll be here when you need me to. You need me to. So you won't have to.
Hang on, I gotta FaceTime my mama and see if these look right.
So you won't.
So they didn't look quite dark enough. I just went ahead and added more ingredients until I got the right color. Go ahead and pour enough water that it coats them about an inch. Now, some people will say to really drench them in water. I was going to be home all day, so I could continuously check on them. If you can constantly check on them about every hour to make sure they're not drying out, I would say the inch coverage is perfect. Look at these, you guys. They're amazing. I bake them for 3 to 4 hours on 300 and then the last hour at 325 to really help them caramelize. I got these little containers from the dollar store, which are freezer safe. I'm super psyched about it. I had to make a second batch because we ate most of them. But here's the second batch going in with some maple syrup from some land here that our family owns in New Brunswick. Couldn't be more awesome, you guys. Couldn't be more awesome. And there you go, guys. I'm super happy that I got to share 6 of what we consider to be essential freezer meals in our house. We love having it at our fingertips. There's nothing like comfort food at a minute's notice. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you come back, check out some of my what's for dinners and my weekend prep videos. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Take care.